Welcome to another episode of the Quiff Corners Book Corner. Yes, part of our summer reading series. My guest has been here a couple times. Yes, to talk about this book, his other book, and some of my books. So please join us and hear this dimension. See you in a bit. Welcome back to the Quip Corners Book Corner, Stephen.
Thank you. And thanks for having me for the millionth time or however many times you and I have talked.
Who's counting? Who's counting?
Who's counting exactly?
I'm happy that you decided to come back to talk about your book, your first book again.
Yes. My first book, Into the Room.
Mhm.
And I thought, when we've talked about, and usually when I talk to people about my books, they always ask, what do you want people to take away? And the first thing is I want them to enjoy the story, and then maybe they
Yeah.
find something to do with their faith journey in the book.
Hmm.
But usually the discussion is around alcoholism and addiction and recovery because my main character is a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
However, the other side of these books is both of them involve an international travel component. Like
Yes.
I always take my character, and in the first book, it takes place entirely in Israel.
Hmm.
And given everything that's going on with Israel in the world right now, I thought it might be good to talk about that side of it a little bit. And I'm not talking, this isn't politics or the
Yeah.
geopolitical situation. But I think that's muddying how significant Israel is to people of at least whether it's Jewish or Christian faith.
Faith. Yeah.
Well, even Muslim faith.
Hmm.
They're all linked together. And when we went on this trip, I've probably told you this before, and if I did, I apologize. But as a writer, I was writing secular books,
Yeah.
which none of which were published. I mean, and violent, crazy Stephen King type stuff. And somewhere over the ocean on the way to this trip, I had the idea for my book, the character.
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if this alcoholic had to take this trip.
Yeah.
And so in the book, I take him and the reader
Hmm.
through, like, I guess you call it the classic 10-day tour of Israel. I
Yeah.
think it's important for people to understand what that country means to us and our faith
Yeah.
and what the history it's a historical and a faith thing that's going
Yeah.
on when
Hmm.
you visit there. And
Yes.
so that's kind of what I wanted to explore a little bit. I shouldn't say kind of. That's what I wanted to explore a little bit as we talk today.
Yeah.
Does that okay?
Sounds good.
Israel to me was it was a life-changing thing for me. It was a life-changing thing for my wife. It's a life-changing thing for a lot of people that go there. But the reason is when you go there, you go to places like En-Gedi. It's spelled Engedi.
Yeah.
And that is the place where David hid from Saul.
Yeah.
And you can look up and see the caves. And,
Mhm.
it's spelled the same way in the Bible, which was written, thousands of years ago as it is today.
Till today. Hmm.
And that's where he snipped the tassel off of Saul's
Robe.
robe. So when you see that, you're like, wow.
This
And
is
when you
real.
read about it, you're like, wow. And you continue your journey and you go to the desert where they wandered and you see you go to the Dead Sea and you understand all that. And then you go to Nazareth and you go to Capernaum. Not now, I mean you go to Nazareth and you see where Jesus grew up and there's this little simulated place.
Okay.
And then the whole trip changed for me. And all this is great. I'm like, oh boy, this is wonderful. But then you go to Capernaum
Uh-huh.
and you're in the place where Jesus preached and where he healed Peter's mother.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I was like, this is real, real.
Mm-hmm.
And this man that I admire so much actually walked here.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing transformed for me there. And as I was writing the book, I was trying to display that emotion. It was emotions too, not the right word, because it was more of a little earthquake, right? But I was trying to explain that to the reader
Yeah.
and take my character through that. And
Experience.
I think in this time, it's really important to feel that and understand it. And not just because it's great to see,
Mm-hmm.
but because we are also, and all right, I'm giving an opinion here, but
Mm-hmm.
we're also walking in a fallen world,
Yeah.
right? It's always been a fallen world, but it seems to be falling further, at least in our country right now.
Are you
And I don't
telling
mean
me?
that,
Yeah.
and I don't mean that politically either, because there's guilty
Yes.
parties all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And understanding how heaven and earth have combined
Mm-hmm.
and how everything started there for our faith is something that makes me really change the way I try to live my life here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said that right. It really changes the way I try to conduct myself day to day.
Yeah.
And so that for that reason, I'd like people to understand how important that country is
Mm-hmm.
and how important all of that history is. And I mean, if you, I can talk about two key stops if you would like me to. That
Please.
I mean, in addition to Capernaum, which was
Yeah.
mind-boggling. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's mind-boggling. Then, at least the way we do our trips, because we go, my wife and I go at least once a year now. We take groups there. Um, we were supposed to be there now, actually, but current circumstances have changed that plan.
Yeah.
We're going to be there. We're going to November now, hopefully.
Okay.
But when you get to the Garden of Gethsemane, and it's another one of those, it's in a lot of places you go to, they'll say tradition says, this was the upper room or
Mm-hmm.
this was whatever. But the Garden of Gethsemane is the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yeah.
And it's the same place that it was 2,000 years ago. I mean, it's nicer now, it's tourist
Pretty it
setup and all
up.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know that if you walk the garden, most likely your feet are going to touch ground that the apostles and
Mm-hmm.
Jesus and Judas, who was
Yeah.
also a
Yeah. Yeah.
disciple, and
Yeah.
those Roman soldiers stood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what it did for me, though, the meaning of it was it made me really put myself into that scene
Okay.
and think, what would I have been like?
Mm.
Because you and I have the absolute benefit of knowing the end of the story, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
not only do we know the end of the story, but we've got the book that tells us the whole story, and then what, 10,000 books that will interpret it for us or give
Yes.
us background. And I always wonder, like, would I have been enlisted and courageous enough to be a follower of Jesus?
At that time.
Or, yeah, or would I have been one of the crowd screaming, crucify him?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know the answer. And thank
Mm-hmm.
goodness I don't have to know the answer. But
But you know the choices you have made now.
eh, the choices I made now. So having that experience there
Yeah.
and understanding the impact of that is what I'm hoping the readers, I mean, in addition to the other parts of the story, but I'm hoping
Yeah.
the readers pull from the story is the flavor of the trip. I remember when I started writing it, my wife said, I said to her, what are you looking for? She says, I
Yeah.
want to feel the heat and the dust and the reverence and the history.
Yeah.
And so I really tried to capture that. And I think in this day and age, that's a very important thing. And then the other stop that now, as much as I said Capernaum and
The
the
garden.
Garden of Gethsemane meant to me,
Yeah.
the what they call the garden tomb was was easily the most meaningful thing to me.
Okay.
There's two places where they say the tomb could be. One
Mm.
is the Church of the Sepulchre. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm terrible at pronouncing it. And the
Sepulcher.
and the
Yeah.
other and the other one is the Garden Tomb, and they're
Okay.
very near each other.
Mm.
And we've seen both of them. And regardless of whether it's the actual spot or not, the way the Garden Tomb impacted me was, uh, I believe, is what spurred me to take a bunch of journal entries that I was doing while I was there and turning them into the book.
The book.
And so at the Garden Tomb, like say I'm standing right here,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, I don't know, 500 yards away is this wall that if you can see older pictures of it was a skull. It was the face of a skull, and they say Jesus was crucified at the place of the skull. So you see that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as our guide described, most likely there's a road there. It's called the Jerusalem Road. They said most likely that's where he was crucified because the Romans liked everybody to see the crucifixion victims as a lesson, I guess is the word. Um, and then there's a tomb that's been excavated there that was in a garden,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a tomb a wealthy person would have. So Joseph of Arimathea
Yeah.
gave the tomb, and then you get to walk inside.
Mm.
And I was first off, neither me or Kathy could take pictures. Everyone else was snapping away. I mean, she's just,
We're
I mean,
just enthralled.
yeah, well, and if I my faith is this compared to my wife. Her faith is much broader and more faithful. How about that than mine? And but she's touching the walls. And then when I came out, I sat down and I opened up my Bible, and this is actually in the book. That's why I'm
Yeah.
saying this. I mean, not I didn't do, my character did it.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I read that scene where Jesus appears to Mary, um, right after the resurrection, where
Yeah.
she says Rabboni and all
Yes.
of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up and I said, if I had a 10-foot piece of rope and I stood here and circled it, there's a chance I'm going to hit the spot where that
Yes.
happened.
Yes.
And so all of that is what I believe it'd be great for people to understand and see. And since people are hesitant to travel to Israel now, I figured what better way to do it than read my book?
Read the book.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
and and it's just it is such a fascinating place. And
Mm.
we also learned, like when we went to what tradition says was the upper room, there were a whole bunch of Muslim people there. And I should have known this before I got there, but I didn't. But I said to the guide, what, why are there so many Muslims in this Christian site? He said, well, Jesus is a very big prophet in the Muslim religion, and
Yeah.
he's very important to them.
So, yeah.
It's just they believe at the end there's a different person standing on top, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said it way more professionally than I just said it. That's what he said.
I just
And but talk about something that made me really think about how we're all not that far off, where if we focus on our faith, maybe a lot of the earthly stuff
fall
can
away.
calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was kind of what I was thinking when I saw your summer
Yeah.
reading series come.
Yeah.
And and then in one more place too that was, well, I could talk for 3 days about all the places we saw. But we also went to where tradition says the beach is, where Jesus was forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not Jesus, excuse me, where Peter was forgiven by
Yes. Okay,
Jesus.
Paul. Yes. Yeah.
Do you love me?
For
Do you love
tonight.
me? Do you
Yes.
love
For
me?
tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, and they give you a lot of reasons why they think this was the beach. The way
Mm-hmm.
fishing was good off of there, and its location and all that. And I used I was emotionally moved realizing that I'm forgiven for a lot of the stuff I've done that I'm not proud of
Mm.
when I was on that beach, and that Jesus could be asking me,
Same.
"Do you love me?"
Yeah.
And And I've often had the thought when like I don't know, I get angry and float off and lose a day or whatever. I'm an overthinker. That's what most writers are, right? We're overthinkers. And I've often had the thought that God is like, for goodness sakes, with everything I've done for you,
Again?
you just get with the program, right? Just get with the program. And so I had that experience and I tried to duplicate that with my main character in the book
Yeah,
also. So and it's not a travelogue, the book, in a sense that you just see and hear about it, but you experience how the character experiences it. And maybe other people then go there and have their own experience because everyone has a different experience, right?
yeah.
I shouldn't say right, but everyone has a different experience when they go to Israel. Fascinatingly, one person I went on the trip with who I thought was who I believe had the strongest faith of anybody, he said it didn't move him that much. And I was surprised by that, but everyone else, they really got something from it.
Yeah.
And I've tried to capture that in the book.
Well,
So I know I'm gabbing away, but that's what I tried to do. So I thought it might be worthwhile to talk about it, and maybe people
mhm.
would want to give it a read
Yeah.
and just see. And if people do that and they want to discuss Israel or discuss the book, they can contact me through my website. And I love talking about trips to Israel. And then I'm not sure if I've ever told you this, but as a result of taking this trip,
Hmm.
we organized a trip through our church that we were leading, Kathy and I. And as a result of that, Kathy now works for the travel company. So she's the travel director that organizes these trips.
Oh, wow.
So so I got a book and a writing career. She
Yes.
got, and this is a woman who was a medical technologist, but she's now running trips over there and putting them together.
Wow. Wow.
So that it's an indication of what could happen, I guess, as a result of feeling this place. And I tried to capture that when I wrote the story. So,
Wow.
anyways, I'll stop babbling now. I apologize.
Wow. Interesting. You know, I guess a lot of the things we get
Mhm.
start off from that place of obedience.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's really interesting about the trip that led to all of this is, uh, I mean, we travel a lot, my wife and I. We do big trips, and I'll be honest, it probably I would go on one a year, but we go on two or three because my wife Kathy is so passionate about travel. So her dad passed away in like May of 2017,
Mm.
and as a result of that, there was a small inheritance that came to us.
Yeah.
And she said, I want to use this money to go to Israel. And I said, okay.
Wow.
So we had scheduled another big trip in August of that year. And we took the big trip. It was over in, Italy and all of that. And we thought we would be going to Israel a year from then, but it turned out
Mhm.
this trip we just bumped into it was leaving in September.
Oh, wow.
So so we got back from the trip to Italy. And
Jumped
before
on to the
anybody
next one.
thinks this, I want to make sure everybody understands. I understand this is a first world discussion, and I am not complaining about the fact that I took two big trips within a month. All right. I'm just describing what happened. And I was tired and I really didn't want to go. And she basically did one of these, grab me by the ear. And that was, on that trip, I realized you talk about obedience, just go with the flow. And my life changed completely as a result of taking that trip. So, as you said, obedience, go with the flow, follow where God takes
Lead.
us,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Wow.
and leads us. And
Yeah.
so, I'm
Wow.
really glad you mentioned that because
Wow.
I would have never thought
Hmm.
that there would be that kind of an impact from me taking the trip.
Amen. Amen. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
thank you.
great. Yeah.
I'm glad that, you signed up to share this dimension of the book, right?
Mm,
Because a lot of times, we're talking about the content. Yes, we are talking about the content, but this
right.
is almost like the second level of the
Yeah.
content, right? So
I
thank
well,
you.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I also, it dovetails in with what I believe if you're a faith-based writer,
Mm-hmm.
which is you have to be an effective faith-based writer, I think you have to leave some of yourself on the page. You have to take, and not always the good stuff. You got to dig down into the,
Mm-hmm.
because we're all sinners, right?
Yes, we are.
You got to dig down and pull that out. And I learned that through this process.
Nice.
Um, Although I honestly didn't realize there was a really a vibrant faith-based book market until I wrote this book. And then my wife said, now you can probably try to, um, sell it. I didn't know. I mean, I knew there were books like, The Shack
Yeah.
or whatever, but I
Yes,
thought they
yes,
were like
yes,
little
yes, yes.
one-off things.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
And one other significant thing that happened to me as a result of this trip and this book was writing it cleaned out all of, I think I've told you this before, but it cleaned my heart out.
Yeah, you said so.
And
You did.
and so talk about 10 days, right? That change everything.
Man,
And I did, yeah. So anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
wow. Wow. No, I'm just, yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your sharing this dimension of your book. And I know that it's available on Amazon and your website, right?
It is. And I
Yeah.
would love to talk to anybody who'd like to talk about
Okay. So we'll put your contact details, your
it. Okay.
website and all that below this video so people can reach out to you if they want to. Well,
All
thank you.
right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. As usual. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Stephen. Well, you take care. I love to
Take
catch.
care. I know this book's been around for a while, but I have
There's
a
not,
different angle on it I
yeah,
want to talk about
there's
today.
nothing wrong with reminding, right? I've
Mm.
had it's not just you. I've had a couple of my guests come on. Oh, wow, you have a matching mug, matching your shirt.
Oh, check it out. I didn't even think. Yeah, well, the thing is, I didn't even know that. So, that's
Yeah,
how
what can I
observant
say?
I am.
Yeah, fashion just follows you.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Fashion just follows me. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've had other guests who have come and shared, the
Okay.
book more than once. And you know how they say repetition brings reinforcement. So there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it. I
Well,
would
and hopefully at this time next year, my next book will be out.
interesting how a book has different shall I say different output. I think that's the best way I can. Because there's reading the book to read the story and almost having like a travel guide. Yeah. I'd sure love to go to Israel one of these days. Like some of us, you could start with this book to whet your appetite a bit more and hopefully inspire you to save up and go out there. Below this, you'll see how you can get copies of this book and how you can reach out to Stephen, who would be more than happy to talk to you about this book and I'm sure other topics. He's interested that way. But thanks again for joining us and God bless you. Bye now.